So I started working as a financial analyst with SBI Capital Markets, and then I moved to a company called PowerGen. It was a large utility, UK-based utility. Again, I worked there as an analyst. I had keen interest to figure out how data could be used to arrive at actionable decisions. Around the 2000 period when the dot-com boom and bust happened, I got interested in internet. I was following what was happening in the international markets. They were able to build large scale businesses which cut across boundaries and across industries, especially cases like Amazon and similar examples in Japan as well. And I realized that one day or the other, this is the kind of scale that it will achieve in India. I completely dived into internet around that period, so 2005, 2007 onwards. At that stage, the size of the Indian market was obviously very limited on the online front. Then I made a shift in my career and I decided to move into media, spent significant amount of time with the Times of India Group, working in their corporate strategy cell, building their growth engine for sales and distribution. I launched the Hyderabad market. We are number one in that market. Then I'm also heading their magazines division, headed the shopping business. Early days. So at that time, very few items used to be transacted online and very little belief on whether fashion goods or goods which are non-standard could be discovered or transacted online. Data was also limited at that time. Users were also very limited. But the boom started happening subsequently when mobile adoption happened and data became very cheap. I wanted to build an internet-led business, and I pitched that idea of building an automobiles business. I started that whole Zig Wheels division within the Times Internet. Thereafter, I started my entrepreneur journey, where I started Done by None, which was an online fashion brand, along with two other co-founders. Then I came back into corporate world, worked with Micromax Group, where I launched one of the online-only mobile devices. And then in 2016, I joined IndiaMart, and since last 8 years, 8+ years, I've been with IndiaMart, building the consumer journeys, building solutions for millions of buyers and suppliers, and making sure that we stay ahead as a core platform for SMEs to both sell and to source. The paradigm shift happened in terms of getting significant amount of data, because IndiaMart is a large platform, and then the whole shift of users from no access to internet to actual access to internet through their mobile devices happened, and data became very cheap. And IndiaMart as a marketplace helped discover, especially for the tier 2, tier 3 suppliers, search for best products and best suppliers. That is where we came in. AI is a natural extension of leveraging data to arrive at actionable decisions. We always had like good amount of data, and we were using a lot of algorithms to solve for the core problem that we have, matchmaking the right suppliers with the right buyers. End of the day, a buyer needs 2, 3, 4 suppliers who are most relevant, who are likely to give the best price, best quality, best delivery. Because now the data is very large, the variables are many. So the algorithms don't capture all the variables, the velocity at which IndiaMart operates. So today we do about 15 matchmakings every second. On the buyer side, we get about almost about 100 million visits, and we have a large amount of supplier database, which is close to 4 million suppliers, verified suppliers, and total supplier base is even double of that. Imagine that when it's distributed across 100,000 categories, then pure algorithms have their own limitations. So we started experimenting using AI, using machine learning. So we defined our top 4 or 5 opportunities, problem areas, either supplier side matchmaking or buyer side matchmaking. So when I say supplier side matchmaking, it means that if you have a requirement, for example, for 100 plastic bottles, so we convert that in an RFQ. Which are the top RFQs which should surface to you as a supplier? The other problem statement is that I am looking for suppliers for plastic bottles. Now I come to IndiaMart, then which are the top suppliers as a buyer I should get? So that's the two-sided matchmaking problem. And then there are many related smaller opportunities, problem areas that we identified. So we built, we had some 7, 8 teams working on different problems. So one was to start the culture of machine learning, AI, and understand the real mathematics behind it. And we started collaborating with the top brains. So we worked with top AI researchers and academicians and also startup and founders to learn and to also make sure that learning gets transferred to our team. So we had a course running on AI and ML. Our understanding became better, and also machine learning and AI evolved. So from a pure data modeling start, where you have to actually custom build your own models, and we did that. So that's the point from where everything started changing. So now the models are far more accessible. Large models are built by big companies like Amazon, and then these models are utilized and they're accessible. Machine learning and AI are very fundamental and integrated with the solutioning that we do across various opportunity areas. It looks easy when you look at India Mart and say, okay, I look for generators, I found generators. I look for plastic bottles, I found plastic bottles. So the diversity is very, very high. How do you categorize content? So in India Mart, the categorization is a loose categorization, which means when I say loose, it means it's tag based. Let's say there is a product called cotton printed yellow patiala suit. This suit could actually be categorized in printed suits, cotton suits. It could be categorized in patiala suits, ladies salwar suit. Even many categories where there is the context of only the text. When you look at the image, you would get much better context of where the categorization has to happen. AI helps. So we are able to understand, we are able to use that data, and we're able to categorize well. When we are trying to match make with the buyer's requirement, we're able to surface that content. I think we should also talk about the context of the user search extending to not just text. Actually, it is extended to voice, it is extended to image. Searches are now happening with the user sharing their photo, and with that photo then we figure out what is the context and what exactly is needed. An agent which has access to data can actually handle customer queries much better. I think the first change that has happened in the user behavior is that now people prefer conversations. They prefer chatting rather than talking on the phone. And today's context, probably WhatsApp is the default messaging platform. You would rather have that conversation on the WhatsApp than actually have an agent talk to you. Using the Gen AI and the agent behind this, we are able to assist this conversation far better. So depending on the user query. So for example, if you are a buyer and then you are connected with us on that channel and you put in your requirement without you even going to our website, we are able to capture the part of it. On the buyer side is you may have a complaint, for example, you may have had some supplier issues or delivery issues or quality issues. We are able to understand that, and we have the context of the requirement that we are posted, and we are able to either raise a ticket or if we are able to give some kind of resolution to the buyer. Similarly, on the supplier side, they are also on our platform and they reach out to us. So whether they have an issue with the requirements or the buy leads, anything that they want to convey to the servicing executives, or they want to add some products. Yes. So it's so much easy for them to just share those images on 9696 WhatsApp channel, and then we're able to understand that this is a supplier, this is the context, this is the catalog, and we're able to update those products and those images. So even the experience of the supplier is far more convenient, and behind this sits the AI, which helps us understand that and solve that. We enable conversation. So it's not just limited to matchmaking. We introduce you to plastic bottle suppliers. Now, rest of the conversation, where does that happen? If India Mart can facilitate that conversation, it's fantastic, because as a supplier, you may be having 10, 15 inquiries, 20 inquiries a day. You accumulate that, you have 500, 600 inquiries a month. We also want to know what is the time period that you have in which you want the delivery. So these kind of suggested responses helps. Similarly, on the buyer side, once a supplier responds, we're able to suggest what's the right comparison metric, price metric buyer should talk about. And then this helps in actually making sure that the communication is faster, convenient, and happens seamlessly between buyers and suppliers. Talk about 15 matchmakings every second. So you can imagine the velocity and the scale at which we are doing the introductions. We need to use AI. We need to use an algorithm which predicts what is the conversation likely to be and facilitates that conversation. If you look at languages, then India has multiple languages. Apart from different versions of English, Hindi is one of the predominant languages. So we started first with Hindi, but it's very challenging. Even when you try to solve Hindi. When we were working on this problem statement, we collaborated with AWS. We used their platform and we used their help to maintain this context and to create the most accurate and most commonly used translation. So there's nothing called right Hindi. I mean, in this case, right word to word is also not the right thing. That problem statement is what we worked with them, and we were able to build a solution that we are currently in the process of implementing. This project is in a beta phase, and gradually we are scaling this. Around 2017-18 again, we were hosted out of US from a co-location, and then we took a decision at that point in time that we got to gradually move onto cloud. Decided to work with two very reliable partners, and out of those two reliable partners, AWS is one of them, and we have significant loads operating out of AWS cloud platform, and we've had very good experience in working with them. This Gen AI in the entire development is actually done by programmers. The coding assistants that have come in have simplified a lot of basic work that the programmers used to do. So now, increasingly, we need more advanced skills from the programmers. We need more architectural thinking, more design thinking, and basic code is accessible, available. So the velocity of producing software, that velocity is going up because now we are able to more efficiently deliver. The productivity has gone up by 30-40%, and hoping that this would even improve further as the quality of coding assistants improve. More time is going to be spent on understanding the user, understanding the product context, and building those productized solutions. Translation of code from one language to other, building test cases, doing testing. I think those things are significantly improving. Again, this is adding to the velocity at which we are able to build products. We have two sets, one are the buyers and second are suppliers. And IndiaMart is the default platform for SME businesses. Anything that we build on our platform, and if it is useful, that gets adopted by millions of buyers and suppliers. So we are completely focused on building that solutions faster and quicker. How do we make our platform safe and compliant? So then there are two aspects to that safety. Purely from a text point of view, there are keywords which we know which are banned, which should not be on the platform, and ours is a UGC platform. So anybody actually can create a catalog, can actually create content, and then within that context, we need to figure out whether it's the right thing or not. For example, pan masala is banned, right? Pan masala making machine is not banned, or a pan masala fragrance is not banned. One part of that is to make sure the UGC content that we have on a platform that complies with the guidelines, and that from a safety point of view, from the reliability point of view, we actually make sure that suppliers who are listed on our platform and who come top in the listings, they are all GST verified. So there is a validation that we do. Gradually, the triangulation that we're able to do of GST data, we are able to determine the genuine sellers from the sellers who are not genuine, who are trying to actually do some fraud on the platform. If there is a fraud supplier, then there are linkages on phone number, there are linkages on IP, email ID. So we are able to figure out those linkages, and we're able to make our platform more secure. There are good bots and there are bad bots. So there are malicious attacks and there are genuine buyers. AI becomes a very useful tool in that for anomaly detection. So we're able to figure out which IPs, which kind of bots, what traffic pattern is good for us, what traffic pattern is not good for us. And so we are able to secure our platform with using analytics and using predictive patterns with the AI. So I've been a sports person all throughout my life. Squash is something that I continue to play for a pretty long time. It took me to another direction where I did my first half Ironman in Goa. And the next part of the journey, which happened just last month, was that I participated in a full marathon. That's where my interest is, my hobbies. And I like adventure. I like going out. So I like skiing. I like hiking. I like outdoors. So they really are good partners for us to continue to, first of all, learn more, build better solutions around GenAI. So our core engineering, our core hosting, the entire infrastructure that we have. So they are our valuable partners in that to be able to build more scalable, secure platform. So this is a very hotly debated topic, and I have my views on it. The way search used to be So we
Yes.
still believe Google has a long way to go, and we will continue to search the way we currently search, which is keyword based, and where links surface and then ranking of links happens. If you look at how the chatbots are, don't take you to any place. They don't give you any links as such. They are actually giving you the answers. Most of the querying is not a keyword based query. It is a full context query, and they are trying to give you the best solution around that. So if
Yes.
you bring it to B2B context, then it means that you're not going to go and look for five links. One of them is India Mart's link, and land on India Mart and try to search for suppliers yourself. Probably
Yeah.
somebody else is going to do for you.
Hmm.
Now that somebody else is called the AI agent. So increasingly, the work that we used to do as humans will be done by
Hmm.
these agents, and the two
Yes.
agents will interact with each other. Buyer agent, which will be trying to find the most suitable supplier, and there will be this marketplace agent, which will be trying to provide that information. That agent is going to consume that information from the marketplace. A lot of factors would change in that consumption, which
Yeah.
probably don't get as much of importance as you do when you do only search on your own. The
Yeah.
ratings become very important. The validation, the trustworthiness of the supplier becomes very important. Quality of content will also become very important. And the recency of the experience of users. Marketplaces will continue to play that role, but the dynamics of how that would happen and how users will access the platform, that will completely change. It could be voice, it could be image, it could be full conversation. So that conversation context has to be understood by us. Feels like that Gen AI has been around for many years. It doesn't
Yes.
sound like just a couple of years. But what you would have realized is that even in basic interaction, so let's say chat
Yeah.
gpt is an example, the kind of response that you would get, and
Hmm.
now machines are going to be assisting human beings with a much higher level of intelligence. The human element would always remain, but the tools that are available to us are going to be very powerful. So using those tools, whether breakthroughs happen in the science field or on many of the problems that we have in the world, those breakthroughs will happen, and
Yeah.
the interaction of the machine and the human being will move to a different dimension. There is access to the most learned, powerful machine that you have. Now, how wisely we utilize that, it can go either ways. How we make sure that humanity grows with this, and humanity may discover more planets and more galaxies and more universe.
Yeah.
But we got to go with those guardrails, and I think this will be a very positive, beautiful world. I'm more of an optimist than a pessimist in this.